Welcome to the First 40 Sports Show with the squad. It's Black Thor, Ice Water, and Puma. And there was a lot of upsets this weekend. Alabama was number one last week. They're not anymore. Texas moves right back to the number one spot. Ohio State steps into that number two spot, followed by Oregon, Penn State, Georgia, and Miami, who came back. They were one of those teams that were going to get upset. They were ranked number 8. Now they're ranked 6th. Black, give me your thoughts about college football and what games stood out to you, man.
I'm gonna say this real quick, man. I'm looking at the rankings. Ain't no way in hell Penn State's above Georgia, bro. I'm looking at that. I don't know who's drinking putting this together. That just ain't that right there. Get Penn State out of it. Penn State should be in the top 10. And I don't even look at it as upsets anymore. I think what's happening in college football, the playing field is a little more level due to the NIL and the trade portal. So you're gonna see more of this, man. You're gonna see more of this. And quietly speaking, there's a big game coming this Saturday. Don't tell that to brother Ice, but there's a big game coming. Ohio State and Oregon, 2-3. I'm looking forward to, man. So I'm not even gonna look back at the upset. I'm looking at the big game, baby. Get my popcorn ready.
The way Ice talks, there's no big games in the big horseshoe. It's just football. It's just the season. Every game is important. Ice, what are your thoughts about this weekend in college football, man?
A lot of things took place. I think there were some. I wouldn't say these teams that lost are some of them are pretenders. I think some of them still are contenders. But I think you saw the worth of what's going on in college football, that a lot of teams can be upset. And what you thought was, I mean, that's the one thing about these early rankings. The voters are quick to throw somebody up there because they like them or they're enamored with them, and then they want to throw them up there as number one. And then if they take a loss, then it's like, oh, what happened? What happened? I mean, but you got to be honest. It's some pretty good teams out there, but it's also some teams that are perpetrating, I think, just a little bit. Like I had talked to my brother, and he was telling me about Tennessee. I was like, they always find a way to mess up or have a hiccup when they shouldn't. And I think Arkansas beating them showed you that from that standpoint. Um, love them or hate them, say what you want to. Nebraska's 5-1.
Yeah.
Man, that's blowing me away. And I know they got the quarterback, and I know they're coming along, but you never really expect them to be at that point. From that standpoint, Vandy or Alabama, I just think that the Alabama coach almost seemed like he's trying to give it away against Georgia, right? And it was almost being afraid to finish the job. And the only reason why I speak that way is because I remember years ago in Columbus, Ohio State used to get up on teams and get leads, and then they would go into that prevent mode. We're about 14. Let's just play defense, and we just keep running the ball and hope the time will run out. I think that's kind of an issue right now for the Alabama coach. I still think they're a very good team, but that kind of bothers me from that standpoint. And there's so many other ways to go, but I'm gonna leave this last one with you is Indiana 6-0. Indiana 6-0.
Yeah, I mean it's been some really good games. Like I said, I watched the Miami game, and some of us, I think Black was saying yesterday that he turned from the game or he saw the score and didn't want to watch it. But I watched them come back, and Ward is no joke. He is no joke. He willed that team to win. The quarterback for Miami was like, "We're not taking a loss." And in a Saturday where some of the top teams were just dropping off, they were like next, and they were like, "Nah." They must have been looking at the scoreboard like, "We're not next. We want to keep this train going." So let's go to NFL football. And I have to admit, Ice, I was really mad yesterday after that game. After the game with Pittsburgh and Dallas, I turned the TV off and went to bed. It was late anyway, but I was like, Pittsburgh, please don't let them score, because I don't want to hear the Dallas fans talk all week about them boys, them boys, them boys. That's the worst thing about it. I don't mind Dallas winning, but it's the fan, them boys. They were on live, they were on social media, jumping up and down. We them boys, all that other stuff. So I was telling my father, I said, I felt like, I felt when Pittsburgh lost to Dallas in the last Super Bowl they played. I was just mad. But your thoughts on the NFL season, Week 5, and there were some surprises. Caleb is playing. I gotta admit, Caleb is playing pretty good. He's picking up the offense, but it was against Carolina. But there's some teams that I want to ask. Who are the teams that are pretty much done this season?
Let me start right there real quick then. In no specific order. New England. I mean, come on, New England. Carolina, despite their they're winning one game. And as much as it pains me, it does, but it is what it is. Cleveland. Cleveland. Unless you make a switch, which means Famous Jameis is your quarterback, to kind of stir it up a little bit. He has that notion to be able to do that a little bit. He's like Kirk Cousins. He's either gonna make or break you. Every once in a while he have a good one. So maybe we need to change that up, but it doesn't sound like they're gonna do that. So from that standpoint, I would say that. What can you say? Dallas over. I mean, hey, Dak Prescott, I've been on him. I'm the first one to kind of I want more. I got more. I received more in his performance in that game. That pass at the end, it was a great pass, and he recognized it and he earned it. Again, I always say sometimes when there's games like that, your quarterback has to make plays. He made a play.
Yeah.
And I hope he continues to learn from that. So I'm not saying he's, whatever, but that was national TV on the line. He made a play. They won. I think if he continues to do that without worrying about how many touchdowns or how many yards he threw for, they will be better. Because sometimes it's about, as a quarterback, the hell with the stats. Make the plays to win the game when you can. One last game, if I can, get out of there, is you talk about a classic football game. Bengals versus Ravens. That was amazing. That's the football I like to watch, because granted it was offensive oriented with these quarterbacks combining for 9 touchdowns and everybody just throwing the rock around and whatnot. The defense was really trying. So it wasn't like they weren't trying, but they just kept answering back and forth. And Joe Burrow was looking amazing doing this thing, and you just knew, every time Baltimore would get close, Cincinnati would score another touchdown. He's like, they're not coming back. But that dude, and I'm gonna say now I won't say his government name, I'm gonna cut my name, Mar. I keep trying to tell y'all, I don't know if they're going to the Super Bowl, but he has made in the last couple of weeks some of the most amazing plays I've seen in a long time. And I love the way that they play, the energy, and the way he's able to combine. Okay, you got Henry. Henry's a hell of a back, and it's kind of what they needed. But also that allows Lamar Jackson now to kind of move and use the weapons that he has to full capacity. I mean, he has, like you said, when you think about that from the tight ends, he's using everybody and he's running when he needs to. He looks like more of a complete quarterback than I've seen in a long time. And I think that's because he was missing the weapons.
Yeah, and when Black texted me and he said, I think you said, "Damn, Lamar." I'm like, okay, the game is lost. And then you just the next text was Henry. And I didn't see the game, but I saw him just running down like he's playing against little leaguers. But in that Pittsburgh game, I felt the game turned when Pittsburgh did a goal line stance, knocked the ball, fumble. When they didn't pick up that fumble, I'm like, you just gave Dallas another life. And that was the ball game right there. But give me your thoughts on which teams are pretty much done in the NFL right now.
I'm going to throw some teams out. You might think they're not done, but I'm going to say they're done early before San Francisco 49ers, bro. They're done.
Wow.
They're done. New York Jets, done. Done. Philadelphia Eagles, done. These are teams that had high aspirations coming, expectations coming to the season. They're not going anywhere. That's all said and done. They're not going anywhere. It's interesting looking at that game, Pittsburgh and Dallas, and I'm going to piggyback on what I said. I was happy to see Dak do what he did at the end of the game. But it amazes me, Pittsburgh, until you really, and I know he's not solidified, you got to get a quarterback, man, where y'all can get the ball down the field, score some points. And it's just not, that defense going to do so much. All these nip and tuck games, you're going to start to lose more of them than you win. So congratulations to Cowboys for winning that one. And go back to the Ravens game. I'm not going to talk about the game because I was talking about the game speak for itself. But that play where Lamar Jackson fumbled the ball, basically fumbled the snap, got away from 2 defenders, and that touchdown, bro, I can't, to me, the only play I think that comes close to that, and it's kind of different, but Mike Vick, when that time Mike Vick took off and ran and kind of basically, that to me kind of like the same type of play, man. You're looking at it like, damn, you have in other words, when it ends, you got to go. But I'm going to say this, man, it's going to be a surprise to most people. I'm looking at Daniel Jones throw the ball yesterday, and even last Sunday. I got to give credit where credit is due. This cat has grown up in a couple of weeks, man. That offense is starting to move the ball. I know you're looking a little strange there, Puma, but go back and look at the highlights, man. This cat is letting it rip. And I'm talking, when I say rip, I'm talking about rip, like putting it right there, long, short passes. And it would not be surprised me that he turns the season around. And Giants, you look at that division, outside of, I mean, to me right now, outside the Commanders, who else is standing up really strong? I don't care what the Cowboys did last night. In that division, no one's standing up strong. So it'd be not surprised to me if they battle for that division, bro. I'm gonna say it right here. I was always against them, but when my eyes start to see, they tell me at the doctor I have great eyesight for my age, bro. Damn good eyesight. I never put glasses on one time in my life. So I see what I see. I use these to see. And I gotta give them his props.
All right, real quick. Davante Adams, Black. I mean, he's fighting to go play with quarterbacks he played before. I watched one of the coaches on ESPN talk about, hey, if you don't want to be in the locker room, just get rid of him. Just cut him, get him out of here because you're just ruining that locker room atmosphere. Davante Adams, your thoughts?
He's not ruining that. The locker atmosphere in the Raiders organization is bad anyway. But I would send him to the Jets. Right now, send him to the Jets. Get what you can. Fleece the Jets. He wants to go play with Aaron Rodgers. Go play and lose. This cat really, to me, has no identity for himself. But he could have stayed in Green Bay, made pretty good money. He didn't win up the quarterbacks. I mean, guess what? You've been playing with Jordan Love. You'd have been a superstar with this young cat right now. You got scared because your little, boyfriend was leaving, so you wanted to go run somewhere. And I don't care what you say. If you go sign with the Raiders, you get what you get. So I hope he goes somewhere we can be happy. If I was New Orleans, I'm sorry, I wouldn't touch him. They got enough going on. I would not bring his old ass there with that young core wide receivers.
It seems like Davante Adams doesn't want to play for a Super Bowl. He just want to play with quarterbacks and people that he likes.
Yeah, but you say he won't play for Super Bowl. I don't know about that. I mean, as you mentioned, the Raiders is just a mess. You got Minshew, as we always know, he's good for about 4 weeks, and then something crazy gonna happen. He's gonna get hurt or he's gonna start regressing. And now they're forced back to go back to the younger guy at the quarterback. So, and then prior to that, you think about the previous coach, and as much as we want Pierce to do well, it's just something about it. So when you are, it's almost like saying, I won't put them in the same light, but when you have a marquee athlete or somebody that can play, if they do certain things or if they don't lead you to winning, then everybody looks at them. I allow Randy Moss. I'm not gonna put them in the same light. Randy Moss was with the team, and he took his pants down almost playing. Everybody was talking about how horrible he was, but you got to look at the surroundings, and maybe he made the bad choices where he went to. And I know that's on him, but if he does get to where the Jets, wherever, he's gonna have to just play. I will agree with that. You got to shut up and play. But like Black Thor said, when you choose the Raiders, you got to know it's gonna be so crazy as hell. So that's the history.
Yeah, we're gonna go to baseball. And last week, right when we recorded the show, right after, I let Ice know that Pete Rose had passed away, and I wanted you to say some words about Pete Rose. I know you grew up in Ohio. You're a Cincinnati Reds fan. I remember seeing Pete Rose. What's your thoughts on Pete Rose, man?
I'm gonna say this. I'm trying to say it real quick. Pete Rose was the hit king. Pete Rose was a member of the Big Red Machine. An amazing, they call him Charlie Hustle because he always played real hard. A lot of people say how talented he was. No, he's a hell of a baseball player to me. I think there's a number of people that were better than him talent-wise, but I think why a lot of people love Pete Rose, particularly in Ohio and all around baseball, because he was the working man's player, right? Wasn't nothing really special about him. He wasn't jumping out the gym. I mean, he made some plays, but he was always diving for something. He made those plays. He was the working man's favorite baseball player, and I give him that. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? Has been for a long time. Has the stats. Has stats. The problem is, I'll say this: a lot of people, the commissioners had that unwritten rule. They would never say it, but it's real. When they thought that when Bart Giamatti, the former GM of the commissioner, passed away, and thought the Pete Rose case kind of hindered him or led to his death, those health concerns. Some of those commissioners after that vowed Pete Rose would never ever get into the hall before he passed. And what I mean by that is it's simple. And I think the biggest undoing for Pete Rose is not having somebody giving him sound advice about trying to get into the Hall. Because he was, in my opinion, he was so desperate to get in the Hall. And I think that the commissioner's office knew that and they baited him. So they go, look, if you just say you admitted to doing anything wrong, this is way before he bet on baseball. This is meant to doing something wrong. We will consider you for the Hall. And Pete Rose was so desperate that he said, yeah, I signed it. I did something. And of course, he became eligible, but he never got elected. And that was a game they bait and switch on him. But again, does he deserve to be in the Hall? Absolutely. But again, like anybody else, I just say that he was who he was, man. He just one of them dudes from around the way, down around Kentucky, Cincinnati way. Hell of a baseball player, got caught up in the madness.
All right, one quick question about baseball and players that started, and then we'll go to the WNBA. What's been the biggest surprise? One biggest surprise in Major League Baseball playoffs?
I mean, maybe it's two of them. The Royals, yeah, the Royals, and also Detroit. I mean, these teams are like damn, what the hell? What? Did they win? I mean, because simply, I would say Houston losing straight up.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I was like, there's no way. Houston lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say that right there. But I mean, real quick, I'm interested in seeing how it goes because the way that the Padres are playing the Dodgers, they're not afraid, man. We ain't got nothing to lose. It's like you playing your little brother, and you say, "Damn, if I don't play some good defense on me, he gonna get me."
Yeah,
yeah, no fear.
And they won the season series, so they're not afraid of the Dodgers at all. Black, the Aces, should they rebuild now, man? Because they have, wow, they were eliminated by the Liberty.
Yeah, I'll give them credit for one game they won. They came out and they showed the champion's heart. But I think what Asa Wilson said at the end of the end of the game, basically, they took everybody's best punch this year, bro. The league has gotten better. They were hunted for this year, and everybody took a punch at them. And it's tough to go for that. And I think, after winning last year, they got a little cocky. Not a little, they got very cocky. Their coach talks a lot of smack. The players got a little cocky. Plum, she runs around like she's the diva of the league. And I'm sorry, these young other ladies have emotions, they have their game, and they stepped it up. And they were definitely targeted. And I think that's part of the reason why you see them sitting home. You're looking at it comes down to the best of 5 between Minnesota and Connecticut Sun. I'm surprised Connecticut Sun is battling where they are, bro. I kind of thought Minnesota would kind of have their way with them and run it through. But again, I think a lot of these teams, man, last year got a will inside them. So you know what? We're just not going to roll over that easy. And the winner of that team in that game series in that game is going to be tough because the Liberty are waiting. And Brianna Stewart, they call her Stewie, that young lady's on a mission. On a mission. So that's whoever comes out. I'm going to take Minnesota, but Connecticut will not be surprised if they take them down when the game. I think the game is going to be played tomorrow night. But Stewie, I think it's going to be hard to beat that young lady and the cast of her characters, man. I think there's something about them this year. They're serious about it.
All right. Let's go to our last second shot. I got 2 real quick ones. Ice, your last second shot.
Yeah, my last second shot is just looking at sports in general. The NIL, man, is amazing what's happening in college football, how people are moving around, doing what they have to do, and how quickly America and NCAA and so many others have accepted this as part of the way the world works now. When not too long ago, we were complaining about likeness and things like that. What I find very ironic is something I saw the other day, and I want to see how this plays out, is the fact that former Ohio State quarterback Terrell Pryor is suing Ohio State, suing the NCAA for a lot of things that he felt he lost because NIL was not available to him. And he actually got penalized in college and also got penalized in the pros because that certain things were set in stone. And because that's how it was, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out and whether or not he has a true legal leg to stand on.
Black?
I'll give NFL some credit, man, because sometimes we jump on them in so many different areas. But when they decided to bench the defensive lineman in Buffalo for basically choking his girlfriend several months ago, I guess when it finally came down, they kind of sent him down for 4 to 6 games. I can't think of his name right now, the linebacker. You know what? Cool, bro, because these cats need to know that it's a privilege to be out there making the money that you're making and you got to think twice before you put your hands on anyone, especially a woman. So they get a lot of things wrong. Don't get me wrong. And the Rice, the character, with Kansas City, I know he's out for the season, but his day is going to come too. Man, if you're out there, you're making this type of cash, wise up. Don't let the hood always follow you. Don't think you got to always follow it. It's time to stand up, man. Believe it or not, you are an example. I'm not going to say a role model, but you are an example for others that are paying attention.
My last second shot is one on Pete Rose. My favorite story of Pete Rose is that there was when he was a rookie, I believe, played for the Cincinnati Reds, and he hung out with the black players because none of the white players wanted to hang out with him. Frank Robinson was one of the guys that he hung out with, and the organization did not want him to hang out with black players. And he was like, "Listen, I'm hanging out with these guys because these guys are hanging out with me, and who better to learn this game from than Frank Robinson?" And I love that. And Black, there's another one for you. They're coming up with names with Cat, and the Knicks are already. They're calling them either the Big Purr or the Big Bodega. That's our show. We'll see you next week.
How about salt pretzel?